Hello, Nathan. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day here, taking the time out of your TFT um, to talk with me today. Uh,
Yeah, no problem. I'm pretty
Fuck,
busy nowadays.
dude.
Okay.
I don't think I'm ever gonna fucking get used to this. Whatever, whatever. Okay, I asked you what kind of topic you want to talk about, and you had mentioned insecurity as a whole, body image, diet culture, as well as societal views of beauty. Um,
hmm
I kind of, the way that I structured it um, was I kind of wanted to start broad and then funnel it
hmm
down a little bit more, but I wanted to touch a little bit on insecurity and what is I guess what is insecurity? Like, how do you define it? Because
Mm,
it seems like a pretty broad term that can really be applied to
yeah.
anything or like any situation. And I'm also curious what the general definition is, and if that also is the same as like a personal definition.
I guess like insecurity is like obviously it's different for everyone like what they think is insecurity and like how like they feel it, but to me personally, insecurity is like feeling self-conscious about like a certain trait or attribute about yourself. And as much as it is like very much in your head, the fact like the things around you, like the external factors, like 100% like play a part in like how you view yourself. Like it can perpetuate this like how self-conscious you feel about certain thing, right?
Hmm.
Um and I don't know what the general definition of it is, but
Yeah.
I guess that's how I kind of see insecurity. And I guess like the main reason why I wanted to talk about like these like range of topics is just because like I to preface like I have like I don't know if it's over, but I have like experience with like I guess like disordered eating is how you would like term it.
Yeah.
I wasn't ever like diagnosed or anything like that, but I have gone through like pretty typical like symptoms and experiences of someone who has had like disordered eating. So,
Hmm.
and obviously that is rooted in insecurity, right? And
Yeah.
so that's kind of uh my main reason for wanting to like talk about these subjects and like how it affects you and on like in society and like people on social media and stuff like that and yada yada
Yeah.
yada.
I'm kind of just asking this out of curiosity. If you don't
Mhm.
mind me asking, like, um, how, I guess, what kind of eating disorder? Is that right to ask?
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm like, don't worry about like saying the wrong thing or anything. I really don't care. I'm very like open to all of it.
Yeah, yeah.
I wrote down notes because you said to like prepare some stuff. So I have like
Damn.
my entire like I guess like experience
Okay.
with like my like eating disorder in case that came to there, but
Damn.
I don't really know if there's like a specific usually it is like disordered eating if you haven't been diagnosed
Okay.
because obviously there's you don't have like any like, professional health professionals saying like what you actually have, but if I were to label it, I think the closest thing it would be to is anorexia.
Okay.
And I know that with anorexia, the initial like thought is that like starvation and like, you know, not eating. And yes, that is like a part of it, but there is like, I think you can argue there is a spectrum.
Yep.
You know, it's not like I starved myself until I had to eat, right? Like for me, I guess like my I quote like version of anorexia was that like I had a lot of like rules and restrictions on myself. So like I couldn't eat like past 5 p.m. I was like I absolutely no matter how hungry I was after that, I would not allow myself to eat. Or
Hmm.
like I had a lot of rules for myself and like restrictions of like, oh, I shouldn't eat this, I shouldn't eat that. And um I even had a lot of like fear foods, like because like they are more like calorie dense. So
Yeah.
like nuts or like avocados or
Okay.
cheese, like that was like something like I was really scared to eat.
Right.
Um but yeah, that's like kind of what my eating disorder was kind of like,
Okay.
just broadly speaking.
Interesting. Interesting. Um, damn. Well, I kind of want to see what you have, or like if you want to
I can
go over
go
it.
into it, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I'm down to it.
So, growing up, I actually had no um experience with like body dysmorphia or like body image or anything like that. I grew up like just like not thinking about that, right? And I was like uh personally I think like I was like a little bit overweight growing up, right? And but I didn't know. Like I lived genuinely like didn't even know. I didn't realize, right?
Hmm.
And because they didn't compare or anything like that.
Right.
But anyways, about a couple years ago, I think after my third year of uni, in during reading week, so this was about 2 years ago.
Okay.
Um, so 2023, I guess,
Yeah. Yeah.
like September 2023. So reading week, which was like October,
Okay.
I went home and so okay, so actually, sorry. That summer, I had a job in like not construction, construction administration.
Okay, sure.
Um, so I wasn't picking up the hammers,
Yeah.
but yeah. So in that one, I actually didn't even realize it. But looking back, like I had like disordered eating like tendencies. Like I would not eat after breakfast, like at seven, I would always only eat like oatmeal and like maybe a little bit of cinnamon or something like that, right? Like half a cup of oatmeal, right?
Yeah.
And then at work, I would not like I would refuse to eat until like 12, right? And I don't even know where this stemmed from. Like this was
Yeah.
just something that I did. I guess like I needed some structure or something like that. I have no idea.
Sure.
But anyway, so that summer I had lost like a considerable amount of weight because of those habits, right?
Yeah.
And so I saw like one time I had to drop this thing off for like my family friends like mom, and then she saw me and she was like, "Oh my God, like oh so skinny, whatever." The Asian aunties,
Yeah.
they'll always comment on your weight.
Hmm.
Um, and anyways, fast forward to that reading week, like later that year, I came home and there was like a thing with like my mom's like family friends and stuff, and they all came, and so then she saw me, that same auntie saw me, and I have like limited knowledge of Vietnamese, right? And the adults know this.
Yeah.
So they're talking, but I understand better than I can speak. So I was just eating whatever. And then she was like, Nathan looks a little, and in Vietnamese, like, fat is like chong chong. She's like, Nathan looks a little chong chong, don't you think? And my
Damn.
mom was like, oh, yeah, it's because of like school or something. Like, she just like gave me, like, defended me,
Yeah.
I guess. And I understood this, and like, I don't know, something about this like really triggered me, like
Yeah.
triggered me so badly hearing this, right?
Hmm.
And I think that's honestly where I would define like the start is in terms of like my disordered eating. Like that comment, like I remember that night, I was like doing push-ups, crunches, squats, jumping jacks, anything I could, right? To be like, oh
Yeah.
my God, like I can't. And then that's kind of where it all started. And that's when the rules came in, the restrictions came in, my fear foods came in.
Yeah.
And it honestly like it was a lot of like ruminating, which is basically like obsessively thinking over something. Um I did like go to therapy a little bit about this like during this experience, but it didn't help. But anyways, yeah. So a lot of ruminating, which again is like obsessively thinking over something, and it would always be about like something I ate. I would eat something, right, and then I would be like, oh, was that like too high calorie? Like, oh, was that like too much? Should I not have eaten that much? And my portion control was insane. Like, I would not eat like that much.
Hmm.
Like, it was like concerning, right? And if it, as much as people say that, like to people with eating disorders, like with someone with anorexia, like they see someone like, yo, just eat a burger. It's not that. Like, it's a lot more than just eating. Like, yes, in theory, they could eat a burger, but a lot of eating disorder is a mental thing. They can eat
Yeah.
that burger, but how will they think about that burger? What are their thoughts around that? What are their thoughts around food? And it's all mental. It truly is all mental.
Hmm.
Um, and that's how I thought of it too, or that's how it affected me. And it not only affected like me, but it affects the people around you too. You don't think about it, but it does. Like, me and my friend, like we cook and eat a lot. Like we share a hobby of food,
Yeah.
right? And but I would refuse to like try anything she makes, even just try. Like I was so obsessed over these calories that I didn't even want to like just try what she made. And obviously, like she made it, she wants to share it, right? Like food is like a love language, right? Something that someone that people want to share. And I just didn't. I couldn't. I didn't want to. And I was also really irritable too because obviously I didn't have like the nutrients for my body like that it needs to function. So I was very irritable and I would like low key like lash out at my friends just for random things. I wouldn't lash out like now. Like they didn't like tell me something was happening or like I was at an event where there was food involved and I got like angry because like I don't know, because there was food involved,
Yeah.
right? And then I would like lash out at like my friends, right? And it affects like your friendships, even like my mom, like relationship with like my mom. She would be so worried about me. She would like she does nails, so she kind of like I guess like unconsciously like looks at like people's nails and she saw mine and it would like I was home one time and it was like purple and she was like why is it that color and then she was like is it because you're not eating? I was like no because it's because I'm cold but like I would kind of like experiment and see like after I ate like more than usual my nails would not be as purple, so it
Yeah.
is because I wasn't eating, right?
Yeah.
And then I would always refuse to like go to restaurants with her when she would ask and honestly, like, let's face it, like, she's not gonna be here forever, right? So I was um refusing to spend time with like someone I have limited time with, right?
Hmm.
And yeah, what else? And
Damn.
um yeah, it's honestly very hard to get out of that mindset in any mindset in general, it's hard to get out of it, especially when you're stuck in a cycle.
Hmm.
And for me, I think what kept me going in that cycle, or what kept got me like quote motivated, was like social media. It's already bad enough with like people without disordered eating, how they can compare with like people they see online. Oh, I should be doing this. I should get this much protein. I should get this. Oh, this is the best tips for like weight loss, right? And
Hmm.
that's really harmful for especially someone with like an eating disorder. Like it's going to motivate them like, oh, I should try this like fad diet. Oh, I really should try this to like lose more weight. And
Yeah.
and the thing is, like, eat no matter how much weight I lost, it was never enough. Visually, it could be like it could look good, like in terms of like socially, people would be like, "Oh, you look so good." It was never enough, and that's why I say like it is a mental game. You could have a goal weight and reach that goal weight, but it's not enough. You need to lose more, right?
Hmm.
and 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 the community around like the eating disorder community online is very strong because socially it's not as acceptable to have an eating disorder, right?
Right.
Because like you should be eating, right? Why are you restricting your body of these nutrients? Why are you starving yourself, kind of thing?
Hmm.
And so these people with eating disorders seek out community, as with any social group, right?
Right.
um they seek out community, and obviously I did that. That's where I found all these weight loss tips, these like what kind of protein, fiber, whatever intake you should have a day. And I would I remember I would search up like what I eat in a day, eating disorder version, and I would
Yeah.
be so sad because it's like 2 minutes long because they don't eat.
Yeah.
But like yeah, and I'm I'm thankful that I didn't get onto eating disorder Twitter because Twitter is the most toxic place of anything of all. Like it's a horrible place to be in, and I can't imagine what eating disorder like thing they have on there, like how bad that community is. But yeah, and I was again obsessed with the calories, and I had the fear foods and social media. But I think oh right, and then oh also obviously, I know that this was unhealthy, right? I know that I shouldn't be starving myself. I shouldn't be doing all these things, but it was hard to not only because of social media, but because of the people around me. They would be like, "Oh, you look so good. Like you look so good." And this obviously reinforces what I was
Hmm.
doing.
Right.
That and I was like, "Oh, I should just keep going." And sometimes I would have like thoughts of like, "Oh, I do want to recover," right? But then I was like, but do I really want to recover? Like, do I really want to like quote lose this? And that was
Yeah.
really unhealthy. And I think like My mindset now is that I used to label foods as like healthy and unhealthy,
Hmm.
but and objectively, I think you can say certain foods are healthy and unhealthy, but in terms of how I view them, I wouldn't say that because while you can eat like donuts and like pizzas, and like if you only eat that, that could be unhealthy. On the flip side, you could only eat vegetables and like low fat food or like no fat foods, and that could be as unhealthy because you're restricting your body of balance, of moderation, of a variety of different foods.
Yeah.
So I honestly think that all foods are like no foods are healthy or unhealthy. What's healthy is moderation. So
Yeah.
if on me personally, if I see someone that's like, oh, you shouldn't be eating candy, like that's like unhealthy. What I think is unhealthy is starving your body, restricting your body of nutrients it needs to survive. But
Hmm.
like obviously that's just like my lens of someone who's gone through this. And oh my God, body checking was horrible. Oh my God, always, constantly, I would. And so I didn't have a mirror in my room in residence.
Okay.
So I would always go into the community bathroom and just like check my body. Oh, like am I skinny enough? And I would always like suck in. I was like, okay, so I would suck in and be like, okay, that's where I should be,
Yeah.
right? And that was kind of my main experience, as much as I can remember, with eating disorders. And in terms of how I would personally say that I recovered, so that was, again, like I said, year three of university is sort of when it started.
Yeah.
Um, I think so that summer. So it was about 10 months of this. And oh my God, sorry,
No,
just
that's
to throw
okay.
back. I remember like I had fried chicken one time. This and my parents were picking me up to go back from like picking me up from school because winter break had started, so I would be moving back home.
Hmm.
And I had like fried chicken, and I had a lot more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
And that entire car ride home, I kept searching up calories of this place, calories of wings of this place, and I saw the number, but I had to keep searching it up just to make sure. And I had to make sure. Oh, and then I always was calorie counting, always, always, always calorie counting.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so in terms of like how I recovered that summer after that year of when my auntie called me Chong Chong,
Hmm.
um, I went to this resort.
Yep.
And with any function with people around, it is pretty nerve-wracking with anyone with disordered eating because they're gonna be around food a lot. And obviously, however the relationship with food is, it's complicated.
Hmm.
So, there's a lot of food there, and it can be anxious for some people. They could be worried about how people will comment on their bodies, their eating habits. It's not something that me personally at that time I didn't want anyone to talk about my body or like and make any comments. Like I didn't want to hear it. I did not want to deal with it because I know it didn't come from a positive place. It was to it obviously it came from a place of wanting you to be healthy, but it didn't affect me positively is what I'm trying to say. So I didn't want to hear it.
Hmm.
So during this resort, I was just eating as quote normal as like my eating disorder would. So not eating as much. And then,
Okay.
my family friends, like I went with a bunch of family friends, like parents and stuff like that. And they'd be like, that's it? Like that's all you're having? And so I kind of felt pressure to eat more because I was like, oh, I don't want to seem like this like eating disordered person, like this sick person in front of these people, so I would eat more. And then that whole week went by of that resort, and I ate like that. Like I didn't restrict myself. I just ate as per normal.
Hmm.
And after I was like, wait, like I didn't gain that much weight. Like I didn't get like fat, right?
Right.
And then I think that's kind of where things shifted, where I was like, I can eat more than how much I restrict, and it won't impact like my body like as much as I think. In my head, I thought if I ate like that for like 2 days, I was gonna like freaking blow up. Okay, like just balloon
Yeah.
up. Like
Yeah.
that was my head at the time. But going through that kind of like exposure therapy, um just made me realize like oh like it is like weight changes are very gradual, um and it takes a long time for to notice. So if I do actually eat like in moderation, in balance, like at the end of the day, my weight won't change that much. It'll just be like normal fluctuations.
Hmm.
And so I would challenge myself a lot. And there's a where there is a ED community, there's an ED recovery community. So I
Right.
would go on there. There's this girl named like Ro Mitchell, and she kind of documented her experience with like ED recovery, and I watched her a lot, and she was really helpful and saying that like food is fuel, like you shouldn't be doing this, and she was really motivating to kind of help me recover. And I would challenge myself in terms of like eating my fear foods. I actually just had avocado just now. I don't think I could do that like a year ago, right?
Yeah, that's
A
big.
full one, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, so my recovery definitely got better after that. But obviously and also my mom, I remember she would always like say like, "Oh, you should eat more," or like, "Oh, like don't worry about like anything like that," right? And her voice would like echo in my head. And that definitely also contributed. Like sometimes I'd be like, "Oh, I shouldn't eat this much," while I was like still recovering. Like, "Oh, maybe I'll eat like just this much a little bit more." But then my mom's voice would be like, "Oh, you should eat a little bit more." So then I put like an extra scoop. Um, and recovery in any sort of issue is not linear. Relapse is very, very common.
Hmm.
And for me, I think while trying to recover, I definitely realized what my triggers are. It's when like there's like an event or something that's coming up where I'm going to see a lot of people, where I'm like, "Oh, I should like try and like eat a little bit less to like look better for these people." Right? And yeah, so that happened a lot, and then I would have to remind myself that like, oh, I shouldn't, but sometimes it would creep in and I would start like restricting back again. So it's not linear, but I think as of right now I am better, but obviously I don't think that disordered eating is something you can just recover with super easily. Like that mental state impacted you so much in your view about your body, yourself, how you should be presented
Hmm.
to the world is something that I think not even just like people with disordered eating, a lot of people struggle with, and that's something that they always are thinking about,
Yeah.
whether they like it or not.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
It's a lot to
that's
unpack
all
there.
I have written down.
I kind of wrote some like questions for each like
Yeah,
I guess stage
yeah.
that I kind of had, but like wow, that's I guess that's a lot. That's I don't know, that is very hard because I guess from my point of view, I wouldn't say that I have an eating disorder or like my relationship with food is like
Mhm,
relatively good, I would say, or like
mhm.
not as I'm not as in my head about it.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
so hearing this, and thank you for being like very vulnerable with yourself. Like
Yeah, no
it only
problem.
happened like 2 years ago, or like 2 years and then 10 months from then, and so it's really been like a year.
Mhm, mhm.
Uh, and so being able to talk about that freely is like really, I think that shows how much you have grown from then.
Thank you.
Um, but yeah, I kind of wanted to pick apart at a couple of things that
Mhm,
you said at
mhm.
the start, where you mentioned your aunt, I guess, calling you like fat or
Chubby
like
Town.
chubby, like um,
Yeah, yeah.
but the way that you kind of reflected on it, or at least told it to me, is like you
Mhm,
had this inciting incident. Like how did you, I guess, come around to figuring that out? Because I think for me at least, just when I encounter problems, just in day-to-day life, I usually don't know that it's a problem until maybe like 5 minutes after, 10 minutes after, 5 days after, a week, a month. Like, did it just come through like reflection or something like that, or did this really like stick out uh, as much, and then you came to that realization very quickly? Does that kind of make
Oh, I
sense?
see.
Yeah.
Like why I thought that was the defining moment that
Y-
kind of turned like
Exactly.
this eating switch on.
Exactly.
Um, at the time, I don't think I thought it like that. I
Yeah.
think Um, the reason it was definitely like reflection after a bit because I remember telling my friends um when I started like picking up these like ED habits, they were like,
Hmm.
"Wait, why are you like why are you trying to lose weight? Like what's like why?" And I would always talk about like this incident like with like that aunt,
I see.
and I think that's why I because it just stuck out to me so vividly, especially because do you know how like if you ever have or do something or that you are like you're very proficient in, right? And
Hmm.
people see it, right? You kind of feel like you have to maintain that proficiency
Yeah.
to like well, not let them down. So in my experience, I was like skinnier during that summer and she saw me, right? And then she saw me again and she saw me like quote like go of myself, right?
Hmm.
And then she made that comment and I was like, "Oh my God, I have to get back to what it like how I was in that summer. I need to get back to that like um that position I was in before.
Hmm.
And I think that's why it struck out to me so much because I was like that was like what kind of like I guess motivated me for a lack of a better word to get back, to not have those comments again, to not have um that happen again basically. I think that's why I would say it's like how why I think it's like the defining feature
Hmm. Hmm.
moment.
Okay. Okay. Um, my next one is, I mean, you kind of answered it already,
Mhm.
which is how you kind of deal with an eating disorder, or I guess, I guess now I have another question, which is like, I think there's maybe two elements, or for me
Yeah.
right now, I was thinking of it as one thing, but now there's kind of two in my mind, which is there's a, how do I say it? I guess mental aspect of it and then the
Yeah.
physical aspect of it. So how did you kind of deal with those things? Because I feel that at least uh, maybe mentally it was you kind of touched on that a bit more. It's like, oh yeah, it didn't really affect too much, or maybe like it didn't reflect too much physically. I'm trying to piece together a question here. But
Like
I don't know if you want to jump in, but
is this are you asking like basically how it affected me mentally and physically, or how I dealt with that.
yeah, I guess how you dealt with that, or and that kind of like I guess almost iterative approach to being like, yeah, this doesn't work for me, or like, yeah, I'm not gonna go to events, or I don't know. Does that question make sense? I feel like it's touching on too many things.
I like can roughly see what you're trying to ask, but I can't
Yeah, there's
piece it
no
together.
definitive question. I guess how did you kind of get to a place where you're more at peace with yourself? Like
Mhm.
you talked
Okay.
about this resort thing, you kind of came to this
Yeah.
realization that, yeah, maybe it's not that bad. But I think this this common thing, as you mentioned, like this relapse, is like, yeah, you might have a week like that, but then you're like,
Hmm. Hmm.
you kind of get in your head, and it's like, well, if I,
Yeah.
yeah, that was a week, but maybe like, I don't know, the food's digesting weird, and it'll all show up in like a
Right.
month. So
Right.
is this
Right.
something I can sustain, or like did you not have thoughts like that and had other thoughts?
I think what it seems like you're asking
Yeah.
is like recovery similar to relapse is not linear. So
Hmm.
how like I guess like what kind of things tipped you towards recovery?
Yeah.
It kind of seems like that's kind of the question you're asking.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah, it is not linear. That resort was not the like one single-handed thing
Right, right.
that made me want to recover. It was just what I would say is what really pushed me to be like, wait, I think recovery is real. I think recovery is doable. Before
Okay.
that, I definitely did have thoughts of wanting to recover because of the people around me. They obviously don't want you to starve yourself and restrict your body so much, right? So they would
Hmm.
always encourage me or to try and like eat like some more or um not think of food too much or something like that. And those things definitely echoed a lot in my mind. And I think that contributed a lot to recovery. And then that's what kind of moved me towards looking at that like recovery community. That girl, Ro Mitchell, I would like watch her videos to sleep and really like take in her perspective on food, on recovery, on like what it is. And I think it was like a buildup of a lot of those things that really made me want to recover because I did want to recover a lot because in theory I shouldn't be starving myself. I shouldn't be doing all this.
Hmm.
But again, I would think like I'd tell my friend like I do want to recover, but and then she would finish it for me because she knows what I was gonna say. Like I don't want to like not have this body that I mentally thought was like good, I guess, like socially.
Hmm.
Um, and so it was that. And I think also I unfollowed a lot of accounts that perpetuated this like ED image. So I think a lot of how to help, I guess, someone in recovery is to try and remove those reminders that like they're saying that their body is not perfect or that they should be eating less. I think the less you interact with it and the less you see that on the day to day, the more you think like realize that it truly is not that big of a deal. Like body image is an issue, but it shouldn't be everything. There is so much to life that you can do. You can pursue hobbies, interests, but no, like you're stuck like calorie counting and figuring out what is the best like optimal like macronutrients, whatever. And
Yeah.
so I think there's a lot of merit to recovery and wanting to recover. I don't know if this answered your question,
No, I
but
think it
yeah.
does. I think it does.
Okay.
Um, I kind of want to touch on the, I guess, social media aspect, just because
Hmm.
it is really prominent. Like, I,
Social media is really hard because it it portrays like what is quote perfect. You always
hmm.
see the highlights. You always see them with a pump. You always see them in the morning when they're the skinniest. Like and they always are showing that and highlighting that, but they don't show like um when they don't look like that, like when like similar to what you said, like the day after or whatever, when you don't have a pump, like they also look like that too. So I guess
Hmm.
for me it's having to remind myself that these are people too, like they are not looking like this always 24/7. And
Yeah.
I know it's hard not to compare because well you see it all the time, so subconsciously in your head you're like, oh, this is what I should look like, this is what like the ideal is. But I guess it's just like important to remind yourself that like it they're just people at the end of the day. They don't
Okay.
always look
Okay.
perfect, and it's okay if you don't always look perfect too.
Hmm.
And comparison is the thief of joy, and that's probably the hardest lesson to learn. I think I still struggle with that lesson,
Yeah.
but it really is real. And another thing that is what makes people struggle with social media is that there is profit to it.
Hmm.
Insecurities are people profit off of it, or but businesses profit off of insecurity so well. Look at the plastic surgery market in Korea. It is insane. It is
Hmm.
so normalized over there. People do double eyelid surgery. They do, I don't know, jaw removal, jaw shaving surgery. It's so common. It's not even taboo as much as it is here.
Hmm.
And like people will just casually mention, "Oh, I did my double eyelid like last week," and they're like, "Oh my God, congrats!" Right? And so there's so much like profit, and so again, this just goes into social media. These people will sell you supplements. They'll sell you their courses, their protein bars because. They have to profit off of the insecurity of people that look at them and say, "Oh my God, if I want to look at them, I have to buy this. I have to do this, or I have
Hmm.
to follow their tips." And so again, they know this. So they have to be able to profit off that, they have to maintain this image that they have. So obviously they have to um work out like extra super hard or starve extra like super an insane amount to be able to maintain that media market like hold that they have on people.
Hmm.
Um, and yes, I guess that's what I have to say
Yeah.
about social media. It's hard to avoid,
Yeah.
and body dysmorphia is real, and it's not just people with eating disorders that have body dysmorphia. It's a lot of people.
Hmm.
But I would just say like not everyone is perfect, and like you don't have to be perfect. And comparison is a thief of joy. As corny as that sounds, there really
It's
is
true.
merit to
Yeah.
that, and you really I think learning that lesson is really important to just live your life
All right.
peacefully.
All right. Okay, I have one last question, uh, which is, I guess,
Yeah.
how would you suggest someone help someone like this? Like, if this was happening to one of my friends, or like it had I known, um,
Mm,
for example, you were going through something like this, like I would want
right.
to help, I guess, whether
Right.
you like it or not. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
like I, that's
A
just my
natural instinct.
initial reaction. So it's
Yeah.
like, is that really helping, or is that like almost perpetuating your fear or like your, how do I say it? I guess the root of the question is like, I want to help as much as
Mm,
I can. Sometimes
yeah.
the other person doesn't know how I can help, and like, what is the best thing I can do, at least from your perspective, because maybe you can't, or
Yeah.
not maybe. It's very hard to speak on other
I get it,
people,
I
but
get it.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Um, that is a hard tango to dance,
Hmm.
for sure, because everyone is different with their eating disorders. It's anorexia is not the only one. There is bulimia. There is a binge eating disorder. There's a lot of different types of eating disorders, and how not only their relationship with food or how they think their eating disorder is viewed socially. Me personally, I was a bit more open to it. I was more willing to tell my friends about it.
Hmm.
But my other friends, she also went through this, and she is scared to death to tell anyone about it. She's scared that they will like outcast her. They're scared that they're just going to like judge her and think she's this sickly girl, right? And
Hmm.
so that's also a factor in terms of if they want help or not. But I think depending on those two things, how they view their eating disorder socially and how open they are to kind of telling you, I think that's one of the two of the things you can kind of see if like how to approach how to help them.
Hmm.
Um, in terms of how to help them, I would definitely have things you shouldn't do. I feel like
Right.
you should not comment on their weight, how they look. Even if you want to compliment them, try and find things that aren't appearance based. Um,
Hmm.
because that can like they can hear that and be like, "Oh my God, what I'm doing is working. I should keep going." Right?
Yeah.
So, avoid appearance-based comments or commenting on their weight, commenting on their food habits. If you see that they are having one egg for the whole day, don't say any. You can, okay, I would, again, it depends on
Yeah.
how they feel that their eating disorder is viewed. But if it's very concerning, you definitely have like a sit down conversation and be like, hey, like I've been noticing these things and I'm just worried about you. And make sure it comes from a place of wanting to help
Yeah.
and not to make them feel outcasted or feel like they're doing something wrong. Definitely make sure it's a supportive environment, because if not, it can just make them isolate themselves and make the problem even worse. And some people, it's, and again, some people, how I said it's a mental thing, right? It's not just a
Hmm.
mental thing about how you view your body. It can be a coping mechanism. Some people, similar to how they eat when they are stressed, some people starve when they're stressed. And I know you asked about the physical thing before too. And I think there's like science before this, backing this, I think. I remember reading something like this. But anyways, the physical part of me, not only like I mentioned like my nails were purple, right? But
Yeah.
the feeling of starvation was almost like a reward to me. I was like, oh my God, that means I didn't eat enough today. That means I'll lose weight, right? And that kind of activated like some positive neuron or something in my head.
Hmm.
So what was the question? What was what was I lost track of thought.
Uh, my
Um,
main question is like, what can I do to help? Or I
oh,
guess,
oh, oh, I see. Sorry, sorry.
to your point, like, what shouldn't I do? Which
Oh,
is,
yes, okay.
which is,
I kind of went off there.
no, that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, so don't comment on their body, if their eating habits, don't comment on it unless it gets bad.
Yep.
But how you can support them is, uh, people who don't want to be helped can't be helped, and this is for
Hmm.
any issue. I wanted to recover, but I didn't. It truly didn't for a long time, even though I said I did,
Hmm.
right? I wanted to keep that body. I wanted to stay within that like that starvation mode. So the way to kind of go around this is to, if it's really bad, you have to accept that you alone cannot help them. They might need professional help, and you might have to be the one to push them towards that. But if like obviously that isn't feasible for all people, so a simple distraction can't hurt. Making them not think about food, about their food intake for the day, that can help for sure.
Hmm.
Um, and comments about like wanting them to get better.
Hmm.
I think that one's, you have to make your own judgment if you think that's appropriate, but
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
can help too. For me, that is something that definitely motivated. My mom was always like, "Oh, like you should eat," or like, "Oh, you don't have to do all this." That
Hmm.
echoed in my head, and that really contributed towards my recovery.
Right.
So I think and obviously be supportive in terms of like pushing them towards recovery and yeah, I think that's what helped me.
Hmm. Hmm.
And yeah, I think those are the main things. And I would say the trickiest part about um encountering someone and wanting to help someone with an eating disorder is figuring out their mindset, I guess, for a
Yeah.
lack of a
No.
better word.
No, that makes sense.
And
Yeah.
that'll help you navigate helping them.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's kind of what helped me, and hopefully that can help others, I suppose.
Okay. Um, I think that's all the questions I have. Uh, but I wanted to turn it over to you if you have, I guess, anything you want to say or even ask.
Yeah, I think one thing I definitely wanted to mention was that like
Hmm.
I think the line between dieting and eating disorders are so blurred.
Yeah.
I don't like, it's even now to this day, I don't know what I'm doing sometimes. Like if I'm not eating as much because I'm gonna have something later, is that portion control? Is that accounting for what's happening in the future? Is that eating disorders? I don't know. And
Hmm.
I think this applies a lot to social media as well. All these like protein whatever is online. Um I don't know where it stems from. And I think that's, I guess, like some people will come and ask me and be like, "Oh, do you think I have an eating disorder because I try and eat this much of XYZ?" And I don't know. I don't know. It's really like how you view food, but I guess that's what I wanted to say. There's a line, a blurred line between dieting and eating disorders, and I still haven't figured it out. And I think that's probably the hardest thing when people. It's the hardest, again, dance to tango when people are trying to diet or kind of starting out to diet is what is too far. Like, how far do you have to go until it actually is an eating disorder? I didn't really have a point to this, but that was kind of my tangent.
Yeah. I also don't have a point, but I do want to agree that when at the very start of our conversation, you were talking about like, oh, after five at night, like I won't eat no matter how hungry I get. And that,
Yeah,
at least to me, that kind of sounds like just intermittent fasting or something.
that's where it came from. Yes.
Yeah, like a lot of people just kind of do that anyway, and it's like
Hmm,
it is
hmm.
very blurred. Like I don't know when it's a problem. Like what if somebody goes on
Yeah,
keto or somebody starts
yeah.
like doing this, like maybe they're a wrestler, like they got to make weight. Um, so yeah, it is very. I'm trying to. agree with you that it is very blurred.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess I guess what I will say is that I'm not trying to say if you intermittent fast, you have an eating disorder. I'm just saying the line is blurred. If you I don't know.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
no, no, for
I think
sure.
you said it pretty well, actually. I didn't have to add on,
It's
actually.
hard because we're both agreeing with each other, and that's all we're doing. We're not trying to make a new point or anything like that. We're just agreeing. But yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
disagree.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you again, Nathan. It's a very, I think, a very, well, no, it is a very personal topic, but it's very, I guess, nice that you were able to be so vulnerable, and it was really great that you kind of like gave the timeline of everything and
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah.
each and every like incident and like how you felt during that and like what that meant.
Mhm.
I really liked how you kind of put that and laid that out for me to understand. Um, but yeah,
Yeah. No
thank you very
problem.
much for
Thanks
talking
for
to me
inviting
about
me.
it. Yeah. Okay.